Go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everybody tonight. So if we could go ahead and stand, and we're going to hear the prayer and do the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening thanking you for allowing us to see another evening, another meeting. We ask that you put your hand around this council and lead, guide, and direct us to every decision that we are making on this evening. Father God, we also ask that you bless everyone in our community, the businesses, our citizens, Lord, and they all may be dealing with something right now. We ask that you give them peace and comfort during this time. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started on the agenda. The council agenda for the November is before us. Is there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda?
I'd like to move to amend the agenda.
Sure.
I would like to amend it to introduce an amended Resolution 338 and an amended Resolution 347.
Okay, and
I recommend that we insert those as after item 8 on the agenda.
Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, after 8.
After 8.
Okay, okay. Okay. All right, being that said, is there a motion?
I'll second her motion on that.
Okay, okay. So we got a motion second to go ahead and put two new items on the agenda, 338 and 347.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there, Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Next on the agenda is the minutes. The council's had minutes of October 24th and November 14th before us. Is there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes? Okay, everybody good with that? All right. Hearing none, the chair moves that the minutes be accepted as unanimous consent. Okay, next is disbursements before us on November 21st and 28th. Council's had a chance to take a look at them. Is there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the disbursements?
No.
Okay, all right. Hearing none, the chair moves that the disbursements be accepted as unanimous consent. Okay. Next on the agenda is an update from the Maryland Environmental Service. You guys want to come on up? Good evening, guys. How are you?
Pretty good. How are
Good, good. We're going to talk about trash.
you? Talk about trash.
Okay, good. Okay,
Yep. I brought Gary up. With
Okay.
Me, I was livening it up a little bit.
okay. Got you.
He's a lot more interesting than I am.
I got you. So you want to introduce yourself? Would you mind
Yes,
introducing yourself?
my name
Yeah.
is Tim Ford.
Yep.
I'm the managing director for environmental operations, which is a division of the Maryland Environmental Service.
Okay, great.
And I'm Gary Laseko. I'm a senior project manager responsible for our Eastern Shore operations, including the Midshore project, as well as the Eastern Correctional Institution's cogeneration facility.
Okay. All right, good.
So I'm getting up there.
Yep.
So
Yep.
after, 13, 14 years of doing this review.
Hey,
for the
hey,
county-
Gary, could you go ahead and, yep, go ahead and collect that on?
Bottom left.
Yep.
there.
Oh, Gary.
It should be on.
Yep. Yep.
In this particular presentation, we dispensed with the introduction to Midshore Partnership. I think everybody
Yeah,
understands the partnership.
yep.
If you don't, I'd be happy to answer
No,
questions
no,
about it. And that concludes our. Here we go.
There we go.
From
Thank you, Steve.
All right, Gary, go ahead and hit the. So we're going to talk today about, obviously, the Midshore One operations, that's the transfer operations, and our post-closure activities with the Midshore One landfill. We'll get you up to date on the Midshore Two landfill and the goings-on there. We want to talk about Midshore Three. We're not real original with the names, as you know, so. Midshore Three is the next one up in Queen Anne's County, and that's in 2031. We're going to talk about the Midshore Recycling Partnership, some detail on that, and then we'll talk a little bit about community outreach. So,
Okay.
I'm going to let Gary take the actual numbers thing there, and it's his
All right.
operation.
So this is really just an update on our performance at the transfer station since we last updated you all, I believe in February. We received about 30,000 tons for the first 9 months of this calendar year, 30,000 tons of trash, 3,000 tons of yard waste or brush, and had nearly 30,000 scale house transactions. As you know, that's a very busy facility there. The tonnages that we received over that period are pretty typical of what we see. We do about 40,000 tons a year. Of course, all that trash and brush is hauled up to Midshore 2 in Ridgely. Our homeowner drop-off facility, we had about nearly 20,000 customer visits over that period, took in about 650 tons of trash, and as you can see there, that service is, the expenses associated with that service are offset by the sale of punch cards. Basically, residents brand punch cards, and it's more or less $2 a punch to dispose of bag trash. All right, these are some improvements we did back over the summer. The transfer station itself hadn't had electricity, wasn't serviced by electricity. We added, ran a line over to it and added 6 high bay, 11,500 lumen LED lights. And the purpose of that really was safety driven. During cloudy days, rainy days, it's was a little bit darker in the building, and of course, there are customers in and out of there all morning long. It's a very busy facility, and this just provided more visibility for our operators of not only each other, but of customers.
So for Midshore One post-closure care, there's a new law that was promulgated recently. It's a landfill methane generation rule. And what it requires us to do is to measure surface emissions of methane. And if there is a hit from those measurements and exceeding 200 parts per million by volume of methane, then certain requirements are triggered. Those requirements are, next slide, I'm going to go over these pretty quickly for you. We would have to design a plan for gas collection modifications, and submit those to MD within 1 year of the exceedance detection, we did have an exceedance in October of 2024. We already have a gas collection system there. That in its own right isn't going to be a major issue, but the flares that we have there right now will not meet the requirements of the new rule. They have to be an enclosed flare. There is an opportunity to get a variance for that, depending on how much how much how much landfill gas you're emitting. And we're pretty close to that, and we will be when the requirement for the enclosed flare in about 4 years, Gary, becomes a need. So we might be able to get a variance from that requirement. Those enclosed flares are about a little more than $250,000 to $500,000, so they're expensive. So you don't get a lot of additional destruction, gas destruction, about 1%. So it's a lot of money for a small gain. So we're hoping to get the variance on that. Next slide. Midshore One Post-Closure Care, again, we have leachate that we generate both at Midshore Two, and of course, we're still generating leachate from Midshore One, even though it is capped. And the amount of leachate that was generated in the first quarter of FY '24 was 621,000 gallons. If you look at the trending on it, it is trending down. It's been dry. And the landfill itself, again, is drying up. It's had a cap now for, what are we, about 5 years, 6 years now, so.
6 years.
6 years, so it is starting to dry up on us, which is a good thing.
So just to stop you, I just want to make sure that everybody knows we're talking about the Easton one
This is the Midshore One
in Easton.
in Easton.
Yep, okay, I just
We
want.
do
yeah.
generate leachate from Midshore Two.
Mhm.
That's basically discharged, it's essentially discharged directly
Right.
to the Eastern
But
Utilities,
that's in
which is
Ridgely.
Pardon?
That's in Ridgely.
That's in Ridgely, but
Yeah.
we transport leachate from Ridgely here and discharge it at Eastern Utilities.
Okay, I just kind of wanted to make sure everybody understood that.
Yeah, good,
Okay.
thank you.
Mhm.
We do get renewable energy credits, RECs, from a small engine. We had talked about that last time we were here, that we've installed. We also get carbon credits from the destruction of carbon through, at this point, through just the flare. One of the downsides of triggering the surface emissions is that because we would no longer be a voluntary system, greenhouse or landfill gas collection system, we'll lose those credits over time. We won't be able to claim those carbon credits.
And the renewable energy credits are coming from what?
A small, okay, Gabby.
It's just a small, so as Tim discussed last time, for a number of years, we had sent landfill gas to, we had piped it over to Easton Utilities, and they had a larger 1 megawatt engine that they combusted the gas to generate electricity from. We found that a number of issues were at play, but one of them was that the quality of gas that the landfill was generating, namely its methane concentration, wasn't sufficient to support the continued use of that engine. So we discontinued that partnership with them, and we found, we partnered with this company called Cunergy. They have a Stirling engine technology, so basically gas is combusted externally to generate electricity, and they had a lot of market share in the oil and gas industry at these remote sites, putting these little engines where, remote sites where electricity wasn't anywhere close to them, and they were capturing gas and generating electricity from them. They hadn't made it into the landfill gas market yet, but they wanted to try to see if that Stirling engine technology may be compatible with gas that's low quality and variable quality. So we got a grant to do this. It's only a 5.6 kilowatt engine. It's very small, but we got a grant from the Maryland Energy Administration to put this in, which covered most of the expenses. That was installed in August of last year. We trialed it without connecting it to the grid. It's now connected, and the electricity that it generates really just offsets a portion of the electricity that we need to operate the gas system there at the landfill. That will generate or result in the generation of the renewable energy credits.
So the company that markets those RECs for us is a company called New Climate, just a new name for Blue Source, who were marketing our credits prior, and who also market the carbon credits for us. They are currently verifying the amounts that we can sell, that we've generated in terms of RECs for 2023. So we'll know that soon. What's the timetable on that year, you know?
A couple of months should be.
So, and it'll generate $15,000 or so of RECs. Next. So, part of our post-closure care is to maintain the exposed geomembrane cap that is at the landfill now. And we get pinholes and small tears that are repaired annually. We have a contract with a company that does that for us. This year, particularly after some heavy rainfall, the anchors that we have in our downshoots, like, they're basically concrete-filled tubes, and they're weight, basically. They began to fail. So we are looking at either removing them or leaving them in place, but we're going to anchor those with the same anchors that we have on the balance of the landfill, in lieu of those concrete anchors. They're rather expensive, and obviously if they failed once, they'll fail again. So we're going to go with the standard anchors that we have elsewhere on the landfill to anchor the membrane in those downshoots.
All right, these are just really more typical numbers of what we see for the waste inbound at Midshore 2 over in Ridgely. So our trash incoming for the January 2023 to September 2023 period was about 112,000 tons. We're projecting to be at about 145,000 tons for the calendar year. About what we did last year, and about 8 or 9% higher than what we had seen for the 5 years previous to those 2 years. So trash is up just a little bit. Brush, 5,500 tons. It's typical. The Holly Road homeowner drop-off area, that's it's a homeowner drop-off that's free to all of the citizens within the 4 counties that comprise Midshore. We took in 1,500 tons for this 9-month period, and about 2,200 tons per year there. As you know, we have a contractual obligation or contractual service period for Midshore 2 that ends in 2030. The estimated remaining life on a permanent airspace basis is until about 2042. Tim will touch on that.
Now, right. So that brings us to this Midshore 2 service period extension. As you know, we've been in discussion with Caroline County. We presented to the county back in March about the opportunity to extend the landfill. There would be a negotiated host fee if they were to extend. And we've been through several iterations of discussions with Caroline County, and we're at the point now where the negotiation will cease to be between Caroline County and MES, since at this point it is now an issue for the 4 counties to decide. That would be an amendment to the 4 counties. So I would expect in the next few weeks to a month that the commissioners will receive a proposal from Caroline County regarding that host fee, their proposed host fee, and the negotiation therein. We have made recommendations to Caroline County and to the 4 counties on what we believe that host fee should be. Our goal was to make sure that we don't present any liability to the 4 counties in a host fee that would or potentially cause a shortfall in revenues any year over year. We certainly can address those with an increase in the tipping fees, but we're also attempting to not increase those tipping fees because we need to maintain or be competitive in the marketplace, or we lose volume. We don't have flow control on the 4 counties. The private haulers that operate within the 4 counties and that generate the most amount, not the citizens generate the trash, but they're the ones that collect the most amount of trash here, can go anywhere they want. And so we have to be competitive at the same time. So we're real hesitant or careful in terms of what our tipping fees are relative to the market. So we've made that presentation. The county has an idea on what they think that, the county meaning Caroline County, has the idea what they think the extension should be for them. And they'll make that presentation to you, and then we'll have an opportunity at that point to have further discussion.
Okay.
The county has been looking at all of our financials. We've provided them audited financials for the last 5 years, and they have looked at those, and they have their own audit firm who does the county's audits for them, advising them as well. Basically, what they wanted to make sure was that what we presented to them and what we thought we could afford was actually backed up by what our financial statements state. So that brings us to, at the same time, concurrent to that, we're moving ahead with, because we have to, the Midshore 3 landfill permitting process. So we have submitted a Phase 1 refuse disposal permit to MDE. There was a required public informational meeting in October, and we're moving forward with the Phase 2 permitting. There's several phases to the landfill permit. It takes about 6 to 7 years to get a permit for a landfill, and it consists of 4 phases. So we're moving into Phase 2, which is about a 2-year period, and we expect to get moving on that within the next month or so. We are debating and probably leaning more towards continuing with that permitting process, regardless of what goes on with the Midshore 2 extension. We can hold that permit, and it basically just moves it along, and so we have that in hand. But that's also in discussion with Queen Anne's County at that point, since they're responsible for providing the site. All right, Gary.
All right, the Midshore Regional Recycling Program. So this was originally set up amongst just the counties, just the 4 counties. MES became involved in 2012 at the request of the counties. We took over operations at that point and changed out, provided capital to change out some of the infrastructure, the existing infrastructure, and those were kind of a crane truck and some old igloo containers. Over several years, we transitioned to front loader trucks, as you see here, and larger 4-yard, 8-yard containers to facilitate the resident drop-off program, and that's really the core of this program. There's 35 of these sites distributed throughout the 4 counties where residents can take their cardboard, paper, plastic and metal and glass and recycle those products there. We pick them up with these trucks and deliver those materials to local markets. In addition to that program, we hold the household hazardous waste events. They're currently on a 6-month schedule. We provide electronics recycling, education and outreach, and also obviously administer the program. So that's the program. It was set up in 2012, the original contract with MES. We just renewed it for the second 10-year period, which allows us to continue this service through 2032, June of 2032. The program itself is funded primarily through a surcharge on the tip fee at Midshore 2 of $5 per ton for trash and $2.50 per ton for brush, and the balance of the revenue is provided by the sale of commodities, so those materials that we're taking to market. All right, so over the first 9 months of the calendar year, we collected about 2,200 tons, pretty much on par with what we've done over the last 5 years, which is anywhere between 3,000 and 3,300 tons. The mix of commodities is pretty consistent, although over the last several years we've seen paper decline. Newspapers, we see those go down 5 to 10% every year. Mailers in your mailbox have decreased, over the last 3 or 4 years. But that's kind of been buoyed by some other materials. Right now, we're getting $140 per ton for mixed metal and plastic, but $90 per ton for paper, $60 per ton for cardboard, and for glass, the clear glass, we get $30 a ton, and the Gramber, which is green and amber glass, a mixture of those two, we get $17.50 per ton. So the mixed metal and plastic, that goes to another processing facility where those materials get separated and sent to different markets. Our paper goes to Creophil Fibers up near Chestertown. They use it as cellulose product for like blow insulation. Cardboard goes to Data Guard in Bridgeville right now, and our glass goes to Cap Glass in Connellsville, PA. All right, so our household hazardous waste events, we just had one this past October in Caroline County at the Hobbs Road landfill. It was moderately well attended. We had about 300 vehicles there for that event. The next two events have already been scheduled, and those will take place April 6th in Queen Anne's County at the Department of Public Works, and in October 26th, that'll be back at the Midshore One transfer station here in Easton. The house,
Those are free to all 4 counties, so.
yep, free to the citizens of the counties, and the locations of the events rotate amongst the 4 counties. We also, for the second consecutive year, assisted Talbot County with the Citizen Scrap Tire event. These are events that have been funded for the last 2 years by the Maryland Department of Environment for the collection and disposal of tires that are generated or kept by citizens. So this past event, we operated that at the Midshore One transfer station again. We collected 332 tires, or about 5 tons of tires. There's no disposal cost to the county on this. There's also no disposal cost for citizens. It's free. Essentially trying to keep tires off roadways and out of piles on farms. So another good event.
All right, community outreach, we like to be good neighbors, so we attempt to try to participate in as many events as we can. We were at the Chestertown Earth Day back in April, Tidy Out Talbot also in April. We provide recycling services at Summer MML and NACO conferences. We were here at the Waterfowl Festival, we had booked a booth, and we provide recycling services there. And if you notice my beard, I volunteer, we do the Ridgely Lions Club Parade and the Ridgely Christmas Festival, which are coming up, by the way. Saturday is the Ridgely Parade, and the week after is the Ridgely Christmas Festival, and Santa Claus will be in attendance. And for those children that might be listening, I know Santa Claus very well. Grown my beard out for him, and we'll be there as well. I just comment on the value of the MERP agreement, the Midshore Recycling Partnership, and actually the disposal agreement. It's an 80-year agreement, and it does not require that the counties invest in this infrastructure to provide waste management for the citizens within their 4 counties. Been a really good program. It continues to be a good program. We thank you for allowing us to participate in this, and can't argue with the economics of it. And it's been, again, as I said, it's been successful, and we thank you for that.
Okay.
And thank you for the opportunity to talk
Yep.
today.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Council, any questions or?
No, I
Yeah.
just appreciate the
Mhm.
update, so thank you for coming in this evening.
Mhm. Yep.
I'll echo the same, thank you.
Yep.
I'm encouraged by what I heard tonight regarding the extension of the life, the negotiations to extend the life of Midshore 2, and I hope that comes to fruition, and I appreciate the negotiation that you've done to bring it this far.
And again, that at this point, it really is, and we're not passing the buck here. It really now becomes an issue between Caroline County and the other 3 counties in the partnership. Everybody understands and recognizes the importance of the agreement. Nobody wants to do anything to upset the apple cart when it comes to the agreement in general. And that's what we hope continues in terms of the dialogue.
Okay. Ms. Milky?
Thank you for the
Yep.
thorough report.
Yep. Yeah, we thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Great,
Okay.
great.
Mr. Stamp?
Well, I just want to give a
Yeah.
shout out to
Yeah.
both Tim and Gary. You're
Yeah.
excellent partners in
Yeah.
working with us, working with Ray Clark, our county engineer. I want to thank you publicly for the service. It's a great service. Council will be talking to you once we get this proposal presented to council. We're asking you whether you want to have a work session or how you want to handle that, but we may very well invite you to come help inform that
Sure.
for the council along with our public works, our county engineer.
Okay.
So, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next on the agenda is update with Talbot Humane. Miss Patty, you want to come on up? How are you?
I'm well. Good
Good.
evening.
Good.
Patty Quimby, Executive Director for Talbot Humane and Chief Animal Control Officer for Talbot County. I want to start with providing some fiscal year 23 statistics to you. We received 526 stray animals, 384 owner surrenders, 15 animals were born at the shelter. We transferred 8 animals in from other shelters, and we had 1 confiscated under animal control. Outcomes, we had 587 adoptions, 99 reunited with their owners, 87 animals were transferred to wildlife rehabilitation centers or other 501c3 animal organizations. We did have 42 animals either die or arrive deceased, and we had 104 shelter animals euthanized. Fiscal year 23 numbers were up 6% from the year before, from fiscal year 22. But when we look at fiscal year 22, we had 19% increase over the previous year. So we're actually doing better than the national average.
Good.
Right now, shelters across the state and the nation are in a position of having to euthanize healthy and adoptable animals. Thankfully, and I'm knocking on wood, we are not in that position. We as an industry are attributing much of this to the economy, housing issues, and behavioral issues, which we feel probably stemmed somewhat from lack of socialization during the COVID-19 pandemic. Currently at Talbot Humane, we have 116 animals in our care between foster care and the shelter. Our animal control officers responded to 347 initial calls. Almost 90% of these calls were bite cases, stray animal cases, or violation investigations. Of that 90%, 70% of these complaints required follow-up contact or further investigation. Programming. This is where the Talbot Humane umbrella comes in to support animal control. We spayed or neutered 1,162 animals. In 2024, next year, we'll be celebrating 20 years of this program. And we directly attribute the decline in organic intake at the shelter to this program. When I started 24 years ago, we were seeing almost 2,000 animals come into the shelter. Now we're seeing just around 1,000 animals come in. We provided intervention services, behavioral or medical, to 181 animals. These are 181 animals that potentially would have been surrendered to the shelter without our services. We provided more than 6 tons of pet food. 713 animals, this does not include shelter animals, were microchipped. We provided end-of-life services to 72 ill or injured pets euthanized for private owners. And we provide supplies such as litter pans, litter, dog crates, cat carriers, all those items on a daily basis to the public. We don't generally keep track of what it is. If we have it donated and somebody needs help, we provide it to them. I want to talk a little bit about our community cat program. Often people contact our office or call animal control or bring in cats that they find in an area. Maybe you see a few cats and they're afraid they're going to have a cat colony. You know, we know 3 cats turns into 30 very quickly. Or they worry about a cat out. They've seen a cat out for 6 months, but a night like tonight, they're worried about that cat. If these cats are not human friendly, such as your neighbor's pet, which honestly, those are few and far between that are out there like this, what happens when you trap a cat and bring it to Talbot Humane or any other shelter? Most of these cats are community cats or feral cats. which were born outside. They live outside like wild animals their entire life. They're accustomed to living in the wild, finding their own food and shelter. When you bring them to a shelter in a trap, we hold them for 7 days, just on the at least 7 days, on the odd chance that they're somebody's pet. But they're miserable, and they can be very dangerous when they're caged if they're actually feral cats. And most of these are. They're not accustomed to human contact, and it's inhumane to keep them caged. And it doesn't actually stop the problem that perhaps people are perceiving in the community. The option for these cats for too many years has been euthanasia. In fiscal year 22, almost 30% of our shelter euthanasia were feral cats. The other 70% were animals euthanized due to severe illness, injury, or dangerous behavior issues. Of our shelter euthanasia, these cats are those which we can prevent the euthanasia of by community education. Last year, we worked on educating everyone who called about ferals or brought a cat in a trap about community cats, what it means when you bring a trapped cat to Talbot Humane, and the benefits of having these cats in the community. They are natural rodent eliminators, and if we spay and neuter them, you keep 3 or 4 instead of turning into 30, they do eliminate other cats from coming into your area. We offered free spay-neuter, vaccinations, and return of the cats. We also offered to help with food. We have had an overwhelmingly positive response. Most people didn't know what happened to the cats. They thought they came and we found homes and everything was hunky-dory. But for fiscal year 23, our feral cat euthanasia dropped to 16%, which is almost half from the year before. So we are hoping this year it goes down even more with the continuing education. We encourage the community to contact us before bringing feral cats to the shelter so we can discuss ways to deter them from your property if you don't want them there. We often find people are actually a food source in some way. Maybe they're feeding their dog outside, or they actually put out cat food for their own cat that goes in and out, or they're putting food out on the edge, dumping their chicken bones or something out on the edge of their property. And we can talk to them about scheduling a trapping to bring them in on spay-neuter days so they don't have to be at the shelter for any period of time, taking up a space in the shelter, stressing out the cat, and ultimately it does cost money for that. So please call if you have questions on that. We've been very busy in the community. We've hired our first Director of Development, Kate Richards, who has hit the ground running. We are excited to have her on our team as we move into our next exciting phase of growth. Our volunteer force has had an amazing year. They fostered 375 animals. Mr. Callahan's family is one of those, which has fostered some animals for us. Helped us get animals out to community events almost weekly. They man our PetSmart Cat Center. They answer phones. They do anything we need. If you walk into the shelter at any time, you don't know what they'll be doing. They come to us with ideas of how to help the animals. And they provided over 10,000 hours of volunteer service last year. So we are very thankful for our volunteers, and we welcome anyone who's considering joining to contact us. Our volunteer coordinator, Megan Dorton, would be happy to talk to you. Unleashed is returning in 2024. We'll be running the Frederick Running Festival. Our informational meetings will be in early January, and the program will start in February. This is a fabulous program for anyone. I was not a believer 12 years ago, and I have run many races now, and I do not look like a marathoner or a half marathoner, so you can do it. It's a great way to make friends, raise funds for the animals, and get moving. And this holiday season, we are extremely busy. You'll be able to see our pets for adoption in the local holiday parades. Our holiday boutique, which is right next door to Talbot Humane, is open Thursday through Saturday until Christmas weekend. And we're having a ladies' night this Friday night. We're open late on Friday night till 8. Santa will be visiting the shelter on Sunday, December 10th. And our 14th year of doing our cookie sale. All that information is on our website for anyone interested in knowing about our events that are coming up. And I welcome all of you. I thank you for having me tonight. I welcome you if you're interested in a tour of the shelter or to learn more about what we do at the Humane Society. My door is always open. Just reach out and let me know that you want to come by. So.
Okay, that's great. Okay.
It's
Counsel?
always great hearing
Yeah.
the good work that
Yep.
you do at the Humane Society, so thank you for keeping us updated. But
We
the
have a great
feral-
team there.
Yeah, the feral cat decline, that's good. That's a good number.
Yeah.
Love the updates, Patty. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
I'm impressed by the low number. One, I think you said confiscation. So I presume that the education work that you've been doing in the community, that the legislative changes that we made are having some impact out there.
Oh, most definitely. I can speak to having been here for 2 decades. My first year, I personally had to remove more than 60 animals, and we had 3 officers. So for them to only have 1 animal this year speaks to the council's support of keeping us in best practices for our ordinances and our team's education of the community. So.
Great.
I have a fur baby that I adopted from you all 4 years ago, and she warms my heart every day. And so I'm 100% behind all that you do, and it's so impressive, all the projects and all the support you get from the community, too.
Yeah.
So thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, for the record, okay? When you live with a cat lady, you have no choice but to foster, okay? But it's been great. I do support it, and it's been fun. I mean, I can honestly say with the kittens running around and stuff, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
it's
I really enjoy it.
And you get to turn them back over. So,
I get to
you know,
turn them over, yes, but that's the problem.
I know.
That's the problem, the give back, you know. Has to give back, you know. But no, you've done a great job, and we really, really do appreciate all you do, and especially with the running group and all that stuff. You guys do a great job, and you know, you raise a lot of money, and it goes to good things, and you work very, very hard with that, and all your volunteers too. So we really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good evening. Thanks.
Okay, all right. Since we're talking about good things, and next on the line here is Eastern Utilities, and give us an update on broadband. So, we're getting there.
There you go. Yes, sir.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
Thank you.
Good.
Good evening, Council. Cassandra Van Hooser, Director of Economic Development and Tourism. I brought my friends here from Easton Utilities, Hugh Grundon, President and CEO, and John Horner, who's Senior Vice President and Chief Operating Officer. We are here to ask permission to apply for and accept a $1.1 million grant from the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development, Office of Statewide Broadband. That's why they're here. The name of this program is Connect Maryland FY24 Homestretch, Difficult to Serve Properties Grant Program. This grant opportunity will focus on bringing high-speed internet access to premises that have difficulty obtaining service due to their remoteness, distance from broadband infrastructure, or other geographic issues that may discourage an ISP from delivering broadband service. The state has just over $24 million that they will divide equally between the jurisdictions should they choose to apply. The applicant must be the local government, which would be us, and along with an ISP partner. Mark Cahoon and I, along with Ryan Snow, will be overseeing the application and the reporting on this grant. Applications are due December 22nd, and the funding announcements will be made in February. So now I'm going to turn it over to John and Hugh, and they'll give us a brief update on what's going on and how we would use this money.
Okay.
Okay, good evening, President Cap.
Yep.
2 mics.
Yeah.
President Callahan, it'd be in stereo. Great. Well, it's always a pleasure to appear before you tonight. You may recall that I appeared before this body back in March of 2022, and we talked about the grants that we'd received from the USDA, and the fact that there was a requirement in the original grant that we have the customers contribute as well. So when we came before you in March of 2022, we laid upon the table a proposal that we would each look at the cost, about $4 million, to allay all the requirement from the potential customers. And the county offered $1.75 million out of your American Rescue Plan Act funding. Eastern Utilities obligated $1.25 million, and the remaining $1 million or so was to come out of this grant. The state had advertised this grant program. They've since modified it a bit. They delayed its application window, and they've changed it a bit. So that's what you have before you tonight. So Cassandra, I think, has sent you a memorandum and basically asking for permission, this body's consent to apply for the grant and administer said grant. So basically what that does, that closes the gap that I came before you in March of 2022 and spoke of. While I'm up here, and I must say it's always a pleasure to come before you, particularly as a bearer of good news. And the good news I bring to you tonight is the partnership that we forged in 2019 with the county is in fact bearing fruit. That partnership was to bridge the digital divide, to get high-speed internet access to the families in the county that didn't have it at the time. And I'm pleased to report that we've connected over 1,000 families that did not have high-speed internet connections. There's not a week that goes by that I don't have somebody come to me, one of the new customers, and say, tell me their story, and they use terms like life-changing. Recently, I had a physician approach me and regale me with his story, and he used the term life-saving. So we're doing good work. This partnership has the rubber on the road, as it were. We've done a lot of good work. There's a lot more good work to be done, and this grant that is laid before you tonight will facilitate getting that work done. So we'll appreciate your support in that grant application. To give you a little more detail, I'd like to turn to my colleague, John Horner, and just while we're up here, give you a little more detail about where this project stands.
Thanks, Hugh. So, and good evening, council members. First thing I want to do is actually thank you once again. This is a partnership, as Hugh said, that's been underway for quite some time. I know a couple of you have been involved in this partnership since we pulled it together. And I also want to thank the members of your team. Cassandra, Mark, Jessica, Clay, Martha, Caitlin have all been involved behind the scenes to help make this happen, and it's been a pleasure to work with them. To give you a little bit of an update, in your packet you have a one-pager that we've used in the past. It's also got a map on the back of it that shares the current status of the project. And what I'm excited to share is, along with our 1,000th customer, we're actually at 1,050 now that actually have taken service. We've also provided access to broadband to well over 2,000 locations. And so as we continue to build fiber out into the county, those locations that already have access are ringing our bell and saying, can you please come out and provide us with service? Some other interesting tidbits, because you'll be able to read about how many miles we've installed in the county so far. As you look at the map, what you will notice is we have very little left to do in the north and south areas of the county. We're actively working in those areas, and within the next 6 months or so, we should have all of those areas with access. And what that leaves us is really the Bay 100 area out past St. Michael's. And we have, since the last time we met with you, achieved a franchise agreement with the town of St. Michael's, and we've also executed a franchise agreement with the town of Oxford. And what that's done is enable us to be able to build in those towns in their public right-of-ways in order to facilitate getting broadband access to all of the grant-funded areas within the county. The last thing that I thought I would share with you is we will be using this grant funding, as Hugh mentioned, to help support those private lanes and long driveways where in the past, customers would have had to provide a contribution in aid of construction. This grant funding is going to close the last piece of what will be required for them not to have to pay that CIAC. Since you met with you in March of 2022, we certainly have hooked up a lot of those customers and basically have been using our own cash balances in that part of our company in Easton Velocity to take care of making that happen for those customers. And the last thing I think I want to share, and you know, it's a great story. The USDA did come to visit with us back on September the 20th. Many of the folks in the room were in attendance, and it was a great opportunity for those folks who work for the USDA and really don't get the chance to spend time in the field to come and learn about what a project of this magnitude is all about, and be able to really feel good about themselves as they go back to work in their offices in DC or elsewhere in the country. It was not only a great weather day, but it was a great opportunity for them to meet with our employees. And I really do want to spend some time thanking Ted Book and his entire team at Easton Velocity for all the great work that they've done. They really take customer service seriously, and it's been a pleasure to work alongside him and his team and watch them not only impress the USDA that day, but also to do the work day in and day out to serve the customers. So thank you.
That's great.
Okay, all right, council, any discussion? Yep.
I had the opportunity to attend the USDA event, and it was a good day. It was great having USDA employees here. Also, I had the opportunity to meet the owners of Triple Creek Winery, and they raved about the service that they now have for broadband. I mean, they are excited. I mean, for that business, that was life-changing. And that's very important to the businesses here in our community. So thank you for all the work that you do to keep us connected.
Okay, Mr. Zepp? No, I'll echo what Keisha said. I mean, just wonderful work.
Yep.
Thanks for getting the internet to those who are in most need of it in Talbot County. And like I said, here, nothing but great things so far. So wonderful job.
Yep. Mr. Lesher?
I too am always hearing from constituents who have recently gotten their connection and are enthusiastic about it. I'm hearing from constituents, particularly west of St. Michael's, who wish the timeline were a little shorter on that map, and I appreciate the updates that you're constantly giving us on that map. How often are you doing those updates?
So those updates are done weekly, Mr. Lesher. We take information from our team, both internally and our contractors, and that's when we provide those updates to the externally facing website that we provide to all the customers. And just to be clear, we work very hard, and this is the great shadow that the man to my left casts. He's a visionary in this area of getting broadband out into the communities. And one of the things we want to make sure of is that whatever timeline we provide, we meet that timeline. So we're going to underpromise and overdeliver. We're really excited to get to the Bay Hunter area.
So you haven't shortened any of your projections yet?
No, but as soon as we get to the other side of St. Michael's, which should be within the next 6 to 12 months for sure, we'll be able to then really provide a very strong update on when we'll be getting to each of the areas in that Bay Hunter area.
That's terrific. That's very good news. Thank you so much, and thank you for all the good work that you and your contractors are doing.
Yep. Ms. Buck?
Providing broadband to our county is a huge undertaking, and I commend you on putting one foot in front of the other and delivering the way you are. It's great. Thank you.
And I'll just add to that, it's a pleasure being partners with you since it's 19, is that right? And it's been a pleasure being partners with you, and I'm proud to be a part of that, and this council be a part of that. So I see the guys hard at work, you know, especially in the Bay Hunter area. You know, they're hard at it, that's for sure. So appreciate all you guys are doing.
I was just whispering we need to vote.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll get right to it. Yep, I'm just thanking them. That's all. All right. And Cassandra, with your team, and I see Mr. Snow back there. You know, yeah.
Mark, too.
Yeah, and Mark back there. Yeah, he's hiding back there. So, but I appreciate you guys too. So, okay. So we got. Is there a motion?
So move for the letter?
Okay. Okay, we've got a motion second to go ahead and provide support for a grant application. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Okay, well, thank you, guys. I
Well,
appreciate it.
thank you for your consideration, and
Yep.
happy holidays to everyone.
Yep, you too now.
Thank you, council.
Okay. Okay, next up is, Martha, you want to come on up? Your team here? You're doing good work with the association and the award, and must be doing something right, you know?
Yeah.
There you go. We'll put the spotlight on you, okay? Put the spotlight on you.
Spotlight on me.
Yep, yep.
So I'm Martha Sparks. I'm the Finance Director at Talbot County, and I have with me our Assistant Finance Director, Caitlin Foster Clark. As you can see, we've received for, I think it is the 21st year, Talbot County has received the GFOA's Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. The GFOA established their Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting program in 1945 to encourage and assist state and local governments to go beyond the minimum requirements of generally accepted accounting principles to prepare annual comprehensive financial reports that evidence the spirit of transparency and full disclosure, and then to recognize individual governments that succeed in achieving that goal. The Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in governmental accounting and financial reporting. So I wanted to, take this time to highlight your finance department and tell you a little bit about us. We have approximately 14 employees, and I want to first give a shout out to our Assistant Finance Director, Caitlin Foster Clark. She started with us in February when I was trying to wrap up this audit report, and we were trying to start the budget at the same time. And it was a very stressful time, and the way she pitched in and immediately started making an impact, and we are very, very fortunate to have her. We have, as I've told our team, when I invited them on, we have several of our department here. We have our accounting manager, Melody Hoffey. We have our administrative assistant, Jennifer Butler, and we have our accountant, Craig Atwood. And we also have Rhonda Pierce is our treasury manager. Tracy Smith is our tax accountant. He makes sure all of those tax bills get out in the mail. Deanna Fletcher, Paige Hicks, Leslie Ledbeater, Stacy Ruckert, Carol Ludwigson, Jasmine Johns, and Caitlin Fitzgerald are also very, very integral parts of our department. I told them while they were not, may not have directly contributed to this report, the work that they do every day flows through that report. We also are a very diverse department. There are 14 of us, and we're very diverse in range of age and gender and race and backgrounds, and we are a really, really good fit. We've had some transition in the last several years, and there are only 5 people out of those 14 people that have been there for 5 years or more. And during that transition, we had some vacancies for a long time, and the people that were there really pitched in, even with their newbie green behind the ears status, and really helped to immediately contribute. And as of July this year, we have been fully staffed since July. This is a long time since I've worked in a finance office that's been fully staffed, so it's been nice. So they just do a wonderful, wonderful job for us internally, the fellow departments, and for the residents in Talbot County. And I wanted to take a chance to recognize them, because while my name might be the one that is on, theirs all should be on it as well. And I think that's covers just about everything I wanted to say.
Ms. Caitlin, I know she wants to say something.
Oh, you want me to say?
No, you don't have to. I don't have to. Okay. Just say hey.
I'm not just going to say hey, but I am really thankful to be on such a great working team, and everyone's really supportive, no matter what the problem is or the question is. Everyone's ready to pitch a hand, so.
Right, well, that's great,
Very thankful.
that's great. Well, we thank you. Council?
You're starting this way.
You want me to?
I'm just
I'll start with Lynn.
I'm just
I'll start,
kidding.
okay.
Martha, I just want to thank you for your leadership, with the finance office, coming on board and being a new council member. You certainly got us through the budget along, with your assistant director there. And to just list and name all of your employees that work with you in the finance department truly does show the type of person you are, whom I've known for a long time, and the leadership. So thank you so much for providing that information. And to the employees that are here tonight, thank you for the hard work and all that you do to make Talbot County look so good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
So thank you both for being here as always. I'm looking here at the certificate that you guys have. I mean, it just doesn't surprise me one bit. I mean, when you guys, your first time going through the budget here this past year, Caitlin, you want to let me know that you'd just been here for a month before we started that. Martha, still the same. I mean, this is a well-oiled machine. It's no wonder we have the ratings that we do. It's a testament to both your leadership. The entire department, you guys got it going on. So keep doing what you're doing.
Yep.
We appreciate that. We appreciate the under promise, the over deliver that you always bring to us, and make all of us look good here in Talbot County. So thank you.
Thank you. Caitlin's first day on the job was a budget meeting with department heads and the county manager. So talk about drinking from a fire hose. We started her out, and she stuck with us, so
You
we're
wouldn't
very
have known.
grateful.
You wouldn't have known. So, great work.
Mr. Lesser?
Just want to add my congratulations to you for building such an effective team that is now getting this recognition, that you're making the right kind of headlines when other entities are not. So we know that's no small feat. And to your staff, I have experienced, not only in my official capacity as a council member, but also coming in for constituent services, how effective and responsive your team is. So thank you for all that.
Thank you and congratulations. I'd say keep up the good work, but I know you will. So thank you, you and your staff.
And I want to say the same. Congratulations. We really appreciate you guys being here. And not only that, it's the community in Talbot County is benefiting from you and your knowledge, your professionalism. So, we're really blessed to have somebody like you guys that are knee deep in the trenches. It couldn't have, last budget couldn't have went any better, other than could have been a little lower, but that's okay, But at the end of the day, you guys actually did a phenomenal job, made us feel comfortable. You did everything I thought, sort of being there in new. I mean, like Mr. Stepp said, we would have never known you weren't working here. So, we're really happy to have all you employees here, and anything that we can do to help you guys, we're here to help you too and work
Appreciate
together.
that. I would be remiss, I meant to, I don't know how I missed her,
Mhm.
but our previous finance director, Angela Lane,
Right.
did a lion's share of the audit work when I first started here. So this is still a continuation of the good work that she did for the county. So I am very grateful for the contribution that she made to us after she had retired.
And that's a good point, and we really appreciate her being in the trenches to kind of help you along and show you and guide you, what you needed to.
I was very fortunate to have
Yeah.
Angela's guidance when
Right.
I first came, so it was great.
Correct. So, Mr. Stamp, you want
I
to?
just wanted to ask
Yep.
if it'd be okay if you brought your team forward in front of council for a photo opportunity?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Okay, good job. Yep. Okay, next on the agenda is the two amendments.
Right.
Okay? So do we want to do one at a time, or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So do we want to go ahead and read the amendment, or do we want to?
Well, I have copies if you want me to hand
Okay.
them out. Okay.
Yeah, you want to do,
338.
is that three, okay, we'll do 338 amendment first.
You got them. You got them.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Thomas, you want to go ahead and explain where we're at with this?
Yes, so, and both of these amendments were, requested by Councilmember Milky. Before you is the amendment to Resolution 338. And this tracks with our, discussion during the, work session with the Planning Commission last week. It adds in, on, Table 1, the part that reads Table 1 Lakeside Wastewater Treatment Plant Permit Limitations and Requirements. There's a, subsection 1 under that table, that reads, as stated in permit 19 DP 3460, a major permit modification is required for any future expansion of the Lakeside Wastewater Treatment Plant. Such expansion shall also require an amendment to this plan. The proposed amendment adds the language, including a certification by the Talbot County Planning Commission that the amendment is consistent with the Talbot County Comprehensive Plan pursuant to the Maryland Annotated Code Environment Section 9506A12.
Okay, all right. Any discussion? So we're just going to introduce.
We would just introduce this, and then if introduced, it would be, the Planning Commission could take it up on,
Sure.
on the 6th. when they
Okay.
Take up the other.
Yep, a show of hands of introducing.
Introduced by Ms. Milky and myself.
Okay. All right, next is is it 340?
47.
Yep, 347, yep. Okay, you want to go ahead and go over this one too?
Yes,
you don't
so,
mind,
again,
please.
as I said, this was proposed by Councilmember Milky, and what this resolution, or what this amendment proposes to do is strike the language, the phases represent defined land uses only and do not represent the timing or sequence of development, provided, however, that all, under the TRAP area water system future planning and TRAP area sewer system future planning sections. So those sentences would simply read, all phases of the lakeside development or portions thereof classified as W2 or W3 shall be reclassified as W1 through an amendment to this plan before receiving water service from the town of TRAP. And also all phases of the lakeside development or portions thereof classified as S2 or S3 shall be reclassified as S1 through an amendment to this plan before receiving sewer service from the town of TRAP.
Okay, all right, so, once again, show of hands to introduce this. Okay.
So introduced by Ms. Milky and myself.
Yep, okay. So at this time, that's all we need, and this kind of goes off to the planning commission, correct?
That's correct.
Yep, okay. All right. Okay. Okay, next on the agenda, we've got, we come to the end of the year, and council goes ahead and elects officers for the council. So, Mr. Thomas, can you go ahead and run us through the process with that?
Yes, so,
Yep.
Under the charter annually,
Yep.
the council selects a president and vice president for the next year.
Mhm.
So the way we do it is that Ms. Morris will hand out the ballots to each of you for president first.
Okay.
You will make your, each write down your selections for president, and then
Okay.
I will read them and then announce who
Okay. That's fine.
announce who the president will be.
Okay. Mhm.
Thank you, Jesse.
Congratulations, Council President Callahan.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Council. Appreciate it. Okay.
Congratulations, Vice President Lesher.
Thank you all.
Yep.
Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, Clay stuff. Next.
Yes, your county manager report for this
Yep.
week.
Yeah.
And congratulations,
Yep.
President Callahan, Vice President Lesher. Look
Thank
forward to
you.
working with you in those roles over the next year.
Yep.
Under your county manager report this week, I have several items. First, we have no committee and commission appointees or recommendations this week, but I will call Rich up, your golf pro, and Bryce. The first item we have in your packet, we have a request from Hogneck Golf Course to enter into an option and ground lease agreement with Crown Castle Tower for a 199-foot cell tower. And as you read in your packet, Hogneck Golf Course is seeking council approval to enter into an option and ground lease agreement with Crown Castle Towers for a 199-foot tower contingent upon review and approval by the FAA. If approved, the lease terms would be for a period of 5 years with renewal terms of 9 additional 5-year terms. The county would receive $6,000 upon approval of the agreement and $20,400 in rent per year. And you have Rich here and Bryce to speak to you about this. And I know Patrick is here and he's reviewed the proposed lease as well. Rich, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everybody. Rich Sutter, General Manager, Hogneck Golf Course.
Bryce Yelton, Assistant Planning Officer.
And, this was not something that we searched out. They came to us with this proposal, and I think it's a good thing for the county. We do lack cell service in that area. The location that they've chosen is an area, a wooded area, coming in the right of the entrance. I don't think you'd even be able to see the tower unless you were right near it, just because it's such a treed area. So it's very non-invasive. I know a lot of these things are an eyesore in the community and people don't like it, but that location would be very, very discreet. So I think it's a good thing going forward, pending approval. So.
I have just one more thing to add. This location for the tower on the Hogneck Golf Course property was designated in our comprehensive plan as a priority placement area for cell towers in the county. In the Talbot County Code, it specifies that the locations of towers in these priority placement areas is to the greater benefit over other locations in the county that are outside of those areas. This is one of those areas that does not currently have a cell tower in it. And so the code does support this location for it. I'm also here to answer any questions about the code moving forward with the approval process if this does go through the site plan process with the Planning Commission. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Ms. Melky?
No questions.
Mr. Lasher? Okay, well, that's great. And I'm assuming that the company has come out there and surveyed that that's the best place for service, or it doesn't matter, so to speak.
So I can speak to this. So this is just a preliminary agreement. So this is what they call the option. So
Okay.
once, if the council were to sign the option, that's when they would do all the preliminary work to
Okay.
come out there and actually survey to see if it's viable. That's the $6,000 that the county would receive. After that, if they were to move forward with it, they would take the full option and continue with this contract to actually go through the site plan process and then construct the tower. So this is pre any on-site work.
I got you. So is there opportunities, is this, obviously it's SIL, but far as fire and EMS, is that any of that on that tower too?
This present location would not be a necessary
Okay.
area for us.
Okay.
There are other areas that we are interested in.
Yeah, okay, good. So, okay, guys, that's fine. What do we have to do for you? Do we have to,
Motion in a second.
okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, is there?
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second to move forward with the request that they've outlined with the tower. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Great.
Thank
Okay,
you. Thank
good.
you, council, and we're going to keep Rich up here with us for
Okay.
a few minutes.
Yep.
We have several more items that Rich wants to bring forward. Each of these items falls under the Capital Improvement Program project, which was outlined in Bill 1539 and was appropriately budgeted, as council recalls. The first item that Rich is interested in asking council for in your packet, Hog Neck Golf Course is seeking council approval for a 66-month lease with Golf Tech Incorporated for the lease of 15 power tees at a monthly lease amount of $4,138.31, $49,659.72 a year. If approved, the power tees would be installed in March 2024. This is a sole source procurement, as Golf Tech Incorporated is the only provider of this system. There are sufficient funds in the golf budget, and I think, Rich, you can elaborate on some of the due diligence work you did to ensure that the sole source wasn't done without that.
Okay. So currently, there's no government entities that have this equipment at any of their properties. So I reached out to Golf Tech and asked them to give me some numbers and finances from other properties within the Mid-Atlantic region. And I provided those to Clay and Jessica there, showing that, the money that we would be involved in is in line. It's actually better pricing than some of the other options that they've had out there that they're already doing business with. So I've given you all the information. You know what these things are now. If you have any questions on those, I can certainly answer them.
Okay, any discussion? Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion second. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
And Rich is here to ask you, and I'm just going to pitch the heading and then let you have it for the rest of it. But he is requesting that he be able to enter a lease agreement with Trackman Range for driving range enhancement system. Pitch it to you now and pick up whatever you don't cover.
Okay, TrackMan Range, there's 3 different companies in the world basically that offer this type of product. There's TrackMan Range, there's the one that's used at all the Top Golfs in the country. You've heard of Top Golf. That's called Top Tracer. And then there's a company out of Johannesburg, South Africa called InRange. And the reason for TrackMan Range was the pricing was better and more favorable for us, so that's what I'm recommending. I also think it's the best product out there also, so it kind of really goes in line.
Okay, that's great.
Just for details to read into the record, council, as you read in your packet, this would be to enter a lease with Trackman Range for a driving range enhancement system, which includes 30 bays with 32-inch monitors. A total of 3 prices were received, with Trackman Range being the lowest, $57,600. At this time, the golf course would approve a down payment of $4,800 to lock in the contract, and there are sufficient funds in the golf course budget. The system would be installed in May of 2025.
Okay. All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion second. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
And finally, council, the Hog Neck Golf Course is asking your permission to award a contract to TexNet Incorporated for the installation of poles and netting at a practice range, the practice range. Rich, I'll pitch it to you.
Okay, again, this was the lowest bid that we had come in. This is to create a safer environment since we will be going up in height on the range. Executive hole number 1 is in close proximity to the right side of the range, and executive hole number 9 is on the left side. And so we need to put netting up both sides to create a safer environment there for hitting, and then increasing the net height at the end because of these young studs that are out there hitting golf balls and hit them over the net.
Gotcha.
This way we can try and control them a little bit.
Yep.
I wasn't
got
looking at you when I said that,
you.
Chuck.
I know you were. Yeah. Nice.
In council, this would be a cost of $241,920, which includes material, labor, and installation. There are sufficient funds in the golf course budget.
Okay.
I'll move to award the contract.
Second.
Okay. We got a motion second. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Okay, there's one thing, I think you are doing a wonderful job. I want you to take 2 seconds, if you would, to help people understand what we're trying to achieve here, because it's sort of in my world, I'm thinking it's a mini Top Golf.
Yeah, it's not really that. It's an
Y-
enhancement to the practice center.
Yeah.
So from a business standpoint, and
Uh-huh.
I'll back up and give you the big
Yeah,
30,000
just give us a
foot
quick,
view.
so
Yep,
everybody
real quick.
understands.
So back in 2018, we received 96 inches of rain. We had horrible financial performance there because golf is so dependent on weather. So we started to make steps to try and become us less dependent on weather, so we can have a continued revenue stream down there, so that things don't, when it goes bad with the weather, things are still good from a financial performance perspective. So we enclosed the pavilion down there, which we now rent that. I have a Christmas party for the hospital on Friday evening down there, as a matter of fact.
Good.
And then this practice range is the next step to that. So we will have these bays will be heated, propane heaters in there. So on a day like today, when we did like 3 rounds of golf because it was so cold and windy out there, I anticipate that being full with people because you'll be in a climate controlled environment, heated, practicing hitting golf balls. This high technology stuff that's out there, this is what's attracting all the new people to the game of golf. It's very, very high tech. When you hit a golf ball, it tells you exactly where it's going. You can play virtual golf courses there, Hogneck being one of them. You have all kinds of different games for the kids. It's a family environment. It's just the wave of the future, and everything we see all around the country and the success that these properties are having, it's just the way to go.
And at night.
And at night. And we add lighting to it, so now we take a business model where you can only have revenue streams during the daylight hours. Now you can extend that into the evening hours, and especially this time of year when it gets dark at 5 o'clock at night.
Right.
You've got something for people to do in the evenings when they come home from work.
Yep. Well, good job, you and your committee, and I know Ms. Melky was really instrumental in this too, and excited about it. So your committee's doing a great job, and really appreciate you. Enterprise Fund trying to survive on your own, and this is going to be huge for us, and huge for Talbot County.
Yeah, it really is.
You
I
know?
appreciate all your support.
Yep,
Thank you.
I appreciate the hard work you're doing out there too, and all your staff. So, okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Council President, that
Yes.
concludes your county manager report for the week. I want to thank you for your continued support for the county manager's office and staff, as well as all our department heads. Most recently, we had a strategic planning session where you were able to spend a day with all the department heads, and it was very productive, and it meant a lot to the department heads to be able to have that time with you. So thank you for your ongoing support. And again, that concludes my report for this week.
Okay, that sounds great. I appreciate that. You're doing a good job, all of you. Okay, next is public comment. Any? No? Okay, anybody want to come on up? Sarah? Yeah, okay. All right, next, council comments. I'm going this way. Okay? Ms. Melky?
I just wanted to express sympathy for the passing of Rosalind Carter. Her funeral was today, and it was beautiful. And she certainly was a showcase for first ladies, and also the role that women can play in our government. And that's all I got.
Okay. Mr. Lesher?
I'm going to speak at greater length than I usually do here, because today I serve as council's liaison to the Department of Social Services. And while at the board meeting today, I heard a particularly heartwarming story. We always have a staff presentation, and today's presentation was from the Director of Child Support Services. This is not where you expect to find heartwarming stories. But she told the story of a client of theirs who had become delinquent in payments. And it had gone on long enough that they took the usual measures, including having his driver's license revoked. Nothing seemed to work, and he was getting angry, and he was calling in, making threats to their staff to the point where the caseworker really did not want to even return his call, even deal with him at all. And the Director of Child Support Services reached out, phoned him, and said, "What's your story?" And he said, "Well, at my age, I've got an old felony conviction, and I always disclose that on my job applications, and it meant that I couldn't get good jobs, and the last job I had really was a physical challenge, and he quit that job, and without income, of course, he didn't have the income to make his obligations to his family." The Director of Child Support Services reached out to the community partner at Shore Legal Access and helped him get an expungement of his record and helped him locate a job which he applied for within walking distance of his home, so he didn't have the transportation problems. And when he started that job, and this has just happened, he phoned back up in appreciation to Child Support Services and said, "Take it out of my pay. I'm starting my job. Let's get this set up." And he's happier. He's a better person. For so long, he'd been feeling like the system was rigged against him, that he didn't have a chance. And somebody in the system reached out and worked with him, and he felt like, now the system's on my side. That type of problem solving is happening in our government here locally, and it's something I think we can all be proud of. That's a great story. Good. Mr. Stepp.
That was wonderful to be out and about here around Thanksgiving. It was a wonderful time in Talbot County. It was great to serve the seniors at Brooklet's Place a week before Thanksgiving. That was a wonderful experience as well. But no, congratulations again, Chuck, Pete, President, Vice President. Look forward to working with you both as well as the rest of the council for another year.
Okay, appreciate it. Yeah.
So I had a constituent call, and this may be something that County Manager Stamp may have to help me with. So I had a constituent call about cameras the need for cameras on Blake Street, which is in Easton, because that is they have apartments which are elderly people. And so I don't know if we need to reach out to the chief of police to find out if there are cameras on Blake Street, or if there's any plan to put cameras on Blake Street, because there was a recent murder there.
Yes, if you give me that information, I'll see to it that we reach out to Easton Police Department, as well as our technical services who manages cameras for the police departments, and we'll try to get some information for you.
Great, excellent. That's all I have.
Okay. Well, I don't have hardly anything. I just want to thank council, and I'll do my best for you guys to, me and Mr. Lusher do the best we can for council in this community, and I really appreciate it. That's for sure. And Mr. Stepp stole a little bit of my thunder here now.
What do I do now?
Well, the senior citizen,
Oh,
or
that's
seniors, you know,
That
that dinner was phenomenal. I really enjoy doing that every year, and I didn't get there last year. So, Marilyn and her crew, and just you know, Charlene, I'm sorry, Charlene just do such a phenomenal job, and you know, there was 120 people there maybe or more. So, and I think they really appreciated us being there, and it's good to see all the faces, and you know, it means a lot to me because I have an aunt there and I have family there, and you know, it's a good place for them to have a Thanksgiving dinner and be thankful. So, that being said, Mr. Lush, you want to go ahead and wrap things up for us?
The County Council's next meeting will be held on Tuesday, December 12th, beginning at 6 o'clock p.m. The council will be convening an open session at 4:30 p.m. and then adjourning into closed session as listed on the statement for closing that meeting. Therefore, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting and reconvene as noted?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion second. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Mr. Lusher?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.